Hi Leo, happy birthday and welcome to your August 2019 Astrology 33 reading. Before I forget, thank you to those of you who have liked, subscribed, donated to the channel as well. Much appreciated. And also to those of you who'd like to book a personal reading with me, donate, or follow me on Instagram, just check out the description of the video. I have all the information on that there. So let's just jump right into your reading. We have a Celtic cross spread as always. You got a couple extra cards that came up there. And then I used two different oracle decks to help tie everything together at the end. Then you got an extra card in each of those. And then we have a mudra card as well. So there's plenty to get to. Let's just jump right in. In the main situation position, pretty harsh birthday gift, but Three of Swords. Now, there's not many ways to put a positive spin on this card, but what I will say, as far as what I think this is pertaining to for most of you, I'm not getting the vibe for a lot of you that this is related to actual heartbreak as far as in a relationship sense. Although that could certainly be the case for some of you, that's usually the first thing people jump to when they see this card. But what I was thinking about with this is the fact that this is a Libra card, and for you guys, Libra is your third house of communication. So to me, this is more about, I feel like the majority of you, this is more that you receive some kind of bad news as opposed to actual heartbreak in a relationship. But yeah, it could certainly be related to relationships too, because your love reading for July, I remember there was like some player energy on deck, so I have to at least put that out there. But the first thing that really came to me was this could just be some bad news you receive. Not that that's any much better, right? Not how you want to be celebrating your birthday either way, but there's good news to come. No, don't worry about it. And the challenge or obstacle position, you guys got the Nine of Pentacles. So just to jump right into that relationship dynamic first before I forget it. This is usually a card that represents someone who's single. Not necessarily a player vibe per se, but someone who can be a bit non-committal. So, maybe that's the bad news you get. Maybe you had someone in your life, you're hitting it off well with them, and then you find out that they don't want a relationship, whereas maybe you did. To be fair, this could totally be the opposite for some of you, especially because if you're a Leo sun, your Mercury or your Venus could definitely be in the middle 10 degrees of Virgo, which is what this card represents. So definitely might be the case for some of you, but could be you because it could go either way. Because in the position of the environment, there's Ten of Swords. That could be saying that that's how you're making someone else feel, or they could be making you feel that way. But yeah, that's the main vibe I'm getting. If it is related to heartbreak, it's that someone doesn't want to commit. That's the first thing that pops out to me with that dynamic. The other thing, though, again, this being Virgo represents your second house of the finances. So that's why I'm saying for a lot of you, this could just be, receiving some bad communication, some bad news via communication about maybe a potential for promotion at your job, right? Maybe you were up for a promotion or maybe just a new job altogether. And, the Nine of Pentacles means that you've reached some level of success in your career, but you wanted to, you wanted to level up, right? So that could just be saying that maybe, you applied for a promotion or just a new job and then you received word that you didn't get the promotion or the new job. That could be what's going on there. But the plot thickens, so don't lose hope yet. In the foundation position, we have the World card. So this is a major arcana card that represents, on one hand, Saturn energy. But for me personally, it actually represents the North Node as well. And also it represents completions as well. So, this could just be saying that this was some kind of a karmic lesson that you had to go through. We did just have an eclipse in your 12th house. And, since that's where the North Node currently is. So it could have just been one of those things where, maybe it's something where you found maybe there was a way where a certain situation where you might have been blocking yourself in some way. Maybe that came to light because I do see forward progress from here. So, maybe this was just a repetitive cycle you were caught in. And I will say, if that's the case, if it was a repetitive cycle thing, I feel like that would be more likely for those of you if this was a relationship thing where, maybe you kept falling for people who were non-committal, right? And you'd get involved and wrapped up in them and then find out, oh no, they didn't want anything serious, right? So maybe that could be the way it's playing out for some of you, saying that this month you finally are able to move past that. Um, but it can just be, in the area of finances as well, definitely. But with that world representing completions, though, I don't know. It gets interesting as far as the career angle as we go through the spread. You'll see in a bit. In the past position, we have the Knight of Swords. This is actually a Gemini card, so this could have been potentially a Gemini that you were dealing with that might have led to that heartbreak situation. But the first thing that came to me with this, honestly, was the fact that Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury started its retrograde in your sign. And when I look at, the position of the horse, right, if we go back in the spread, it's moving away. So not only is it in the past position, but it's going backwards, basically, you know what I mean? It's moving away from the rest of the spread. So to me, this could just be pointing to the timeline, which is to say maybe right as soon as that Mercury retrograde started, that might have been where this heartbreak came into play. And that wouldn't surprise me because this particular Mercury retrograde kicked off with some tough energies. It was hanging out with Mars in your sign, and it was squaring Uranus. So, and Uranus in your 10th house at that. So, you could have just received some bad news about, like I said, primarily for most of you, I think it's more of like along the lines of career, not actual romantic relationship. But yeah, that's really what I'm feeling there. There could have been some harsh communication. Now, if it was a relationship as opposed to related to finances, that could be what it was too. Just saying that, they might have really just came in with some harsh communication that was not cool at all. They might have totally made you feel like less than what you are, you know what I mean? Because there's that Five of Pentacles energy at the bottom of the deck, which is that feeling left out in the cold type of energy. So that's what I'm feeling there. Now, in the present position, it gets interesting because we have the Judgment card and we have the Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles is a Capricorn card, and for you guys, Capricorn is your 6th house. And I'm actually recording this as we're dealing with that eclipse energy of the full moon in Capricorn, the full moon eclipse in Capricorn. And this actually, the Judgment card for me is a Scorpio card. You often hear Scorpio and 8th house referred to as death and rebirth, right? The main Scorpio card in the major arcana is the death card, so I view this as the rebirth. I mean, the artwork speaks for itself in that regard, right? And with that full moon eclipse, it's actually going to be really close to Pluto. So to me, that could just bring something back from the dead for you. And with the Queen of Pentacles here, right, going from that Nine of Pentacles energy to the Queen of Pentacles, it could just be strictly pointing to the full moon being some kind of a game changer in some kind of way, since I am recording it around that time. But for those of you, even if you don't watch this until August, at the very least, I would say that this could represent that offer, especially, if we're dealing with Mercury retrograde when it first happened, right? So maybe, for example, you were going for a promotion and they told you, oh, we're going to give it to this other person, right? But maybe then that other person, who knows, they might have gotten another job offer too. So they decide to totally take that, and now all of a sudden that opening is there again. Or if this was just another job in general, because you felt like, okay, yeah, I have some success here, but not as, much as I'd like, right? The Nine of Pentacles, like I said, is still some kind of financial success, but maybe you wanted to just level up. So you're like, well, maybe I need to just move to another job to get that level up. So maybe you applied, you received a call from them. Yeah, unfortunately, we decided to go with someone else, right? With all the Mercury retrograde energy going on, it could have been that there was just confusion and the person relaying the message didn't realize that, oh, they actually wanted to hire you. So they thought that you were actually supposed to be getting declined, but that was inaccurate. Or who knows, even the person they gave the job to, they might have failed a drug test or something crazy like that, who knows? So That's what I'm really feeling here, because it's like you go from that Nine of Pentacles energy, which is still, like I said, pretty positive as far as finances go, but then to jump to that Queen, I definitely feel like you get some kind of good news as far as something that you thought you'd lost an opportunity on coming back around for you. And Candace, this can also represent, since the retrograde will technically be over by the time August starts, but at the same time, you still have that shadow period. So this could just be someone from your past coming back around too. So, maybe you did go through a heartbreak with one person, and then another person from your past comes back in, and you guys might hit it off. In the near future position, we have the Empress card. So again, to me, this is just building on that theme of what I was saying, going from that Nine of Pentacles. Some people view the Nine of Pentacles as like the minor arcana version of the Empress. So there you go, right? It could just show that steady growth. That now, okay, a job that you thought you missed an opportunity on, now all of a sudden you're going to have it. So now you're feeling a lot more confident, a lot more abundant, right? Just a lot more comfortable, receptive. Venus, this is a Venus emblem right there. Venus will be moving through your sign as well, so that could also help with that energy. And then before the month is out, it'll actually move into your second house of finances too. So given that this is the near future, that could definitely help boost your finances as well, obviously. And then this is also a Taurus energy. So think about it that way. Taurus representing your 10th house of career and social status. This could definitely represent things turning around for you in the area of finances. And I do have to put out there, obviously, this could also represent pregnancy as well. I'm not getting that vibe as much. Like last year, I think in August, you guys had a huge pregnancy vibe that I was getting in one of the readings, but I had to at least mention it. Minor blip on that one though, so did want to at least mention it. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Sun, which some consider your card since you are ruled by the Sun, and the Seven of Cups. So I do have to say, since there is a child on this card, yeah, it can actually be possible that some of you might actually find out that you are pregnant this month. And, I feel like maybe that would be the case for those of you if you've actually actively been trying, because Jupiter's been retrograde in your fifth house, which is a house that often could, signal having kids if there's a major transit going through that house. And, it's been retrograde for a bit. Around the 10th or 11th, I believe, of August is when it starts to go direct again. So maybe when it starts to build up momentum, you might actually, if you were attempting for a while, you might find out that you get forward movement there. But to me, this could just be representing you feeling a lot more playful and, coming out of that Three of Swords energy, because you start to receive that good news, whether it's related to finances or relationship. Either way, like I said, the majority of you, I think it's going to be finances. And that just puts you in a better mood. And then plus all that energy is just coming into your sign too, positive energy at that. The Sun's going to be there. Venus, like I said, is going to be there. Mars will still be there for the first 20 days, I believe, of the month. Like I think it goes into Virgo right before the Sun goes into Virgo. So, so there's going to be just a lot of energy going through your sign. And maybe after all the chaos of the eclipses and everything, you just need that, that boost. But with the Seven of Cups, it's interesting because this could represent confusion, and maybe that's actually, well, okay, let's say this makes me think of the relationship dynamic again, actually. So let me just touch on that really quick. This could just be saying that you go into your relationships with like this very playful, naive attitude, which is definitely great, right? It's good to have that optimism and that openness, but if it's gotten you burned in the past, with the Three of Swords, and like I said, for some of you with that World card there, it might have been a repetitive cycle. Maybe you're looking at that like, okay, why am I not seeing things clearly? And like I said, you guys would have had that eclipse that in your 12th house a couple weeks ago, the new moon eclipse. So that could be what really helped you look at it and overcome it. Like, okay, now I know I can still be open and playful, but I have to just be mindful that, okay, maybe not necessarily just believe everything everyone says out the gate, right? Just be a little bit cautious. This can just represent confusion around offers. Again, like if this all of a sudden you were resigned with that Three of Swords feeling, right? Resigned to the fact that you weren't going to get this promotion or this new job, and then all of a sudden it comes back around. On the one hand, you might be really excited about it, but on the other, you might be like, "Ooh, can I trust this?" Like, all right, this might seem a little too good to be true. So that could be how that's playing out for some of you. In the position of the environment's influence on the situation, we have the Ten of Swords. So, like I said, if this was a relationship thing, that could go either way. With this in an environment position, that could be saying that this was you that ended the connection because you didn't want to be committed, or it could easily say that this was someone else causing this feeling in you. Now, if this is in a career sense, this leads me to believe that it would be a little bit more likely than, for most of you, it wouldn't be a promotion, but it would just be a new job altogether. And the reason I say that is with the Ten of Swords there, that could be saying that your influence, the influence on the environment is you leaving the job that you're currently at, where, like I said, you had some success, the Nine of Pentacles, right? That's, still pretty good. But now you're getting that news that's going to elevate you to that Queen of Pentacles status and Empress status. And then you decide to leave that job, that might be them feeling like, oh, great, now they have to scramble, because if you really didn't think you were going to get it, right, you might not have even mentioned anything to your current job. So then all of a sudden you find out you did get it, you might have to hop on it right away. And then they might end up feeling like, whoa, okay, we just got blindsided by Leo leaving their job, right? So that could be what's going on there. Either way, keep in mind that this could just also represent an ending to your overthinking things, because with that Three of Swords, it's very much a trapped in your mind kind of energy. And then once you get that good news, it could just be saying that that's an end to you overthinking things, like replaying things in your mind over and over, like, oh, I can't believe I didn't get the job. What am I going to do next, right? Just all these things going through your mind. That could represent an ending to that, because in the original, all right, so the artwork for the Minor Arcana here is actually based on a deck called the Solnabuska deck. And in that deck, the Ten of Swords is a lot more like the Ten of Wands, where it's actually a person carrying 10 swords. So to me, it's just like it represents more than actual, it looks a lot more grim here, but it just represents more of just being burdened by too many thoughts in your mind. So maybe it's saying you're finally able to let that anxiety and fear go when you get that good news. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Page of Wands. So to me, what I think this really represents with the Sun energy there and the Seven of Cups. So this could just be a hope. This could be saying you're hoping for that reset, right? Okay, I get a fresh start at this new job. I'm going to get more money. I'm happy about it. I'm excited, right? So that could be one way it's playing out. But as a fear, this could actually be saying that, maybe you're excited about the job, but maybe now you're already starting to think, and maybe that's what the Ten of Swords is saying, that you are stuck in that now, because now you got the job, you were sure you didn't get it. You know how that goes. When you're sure you're not going to get something, you just tell yourself, all right, it wasn't meant to happen. Your mind just lets it go, essentially. But then all of a sudden, if it comes out of the blue with that judgment moment, now you might overwhelm yourself thinking about, oh, all right, well, now I do have the job. And now, like I said, if it's something that's going to take you from Nine of Pentacles to Empress level, it's a pretty significant jump up. Like I said, even though the Nine of Pentacles is still pretty good. So now you might be like, okay, well, normally your energy is King of Wands, so you might be fearful, like, oh, it's almost like I'm starting all over again, like, all right, now I have to learn something new and come up through the ranks to get to the king level again at this new job, right? So that could be what's going on there. So you could just be, a little bit fearful of that. But either way, it's not necessarily a negative thing. I think it's just you being a bit more trapped in your head. And once Mercury Rever comes back into your sign in August, that should help, because that could be part of what it is too. Mercury retrograde in your 12th house, And even when it goes direct, it's still in shadow. So until it gets into your sign, you might still just be a little freaked out about the whole situation, overthinking things. Because that can happen with transits in the 12th house. You can definitely get stuck in your head a bit. All right, and then in the outcome position, we have the King of Wands. So definitely good news, right? This is your court card. The only way it could have been better probably would have been the Strength card, but this is still really solid. On the one level, can just be pointing to the fact that the sun will be in the sign of Leo most of the month, yes, but taking the whole reading as a whole, I would say that this definitely looks like, this is you just feeling like you're on firm footing again. Even with that sun energy being a celebratory, happy energy, if that was more of a fear of yours, like, oh my God, I have this job now. Now I'm going to be like, the inexperienced little kid in the office compared to my current job where I was, way more experienced. Now I have to step my game up to, claim this Empress energy. You could have just been psyching yourself out about that. King of Wands at the end of the month shows that, by the end of the month, you're feeling more sure of yourself, more confident, back in your zone. Like I said, there's going to be plenty of energy in Leo in August, so that could definitely help that. So that's what I'm feeling there. So pretty, like I said, there were definitely a few rough cards in the spread, but overall it seems pretty positive. Especially, you guys have had some rough readings, I feel like, the past couple of months or so. All right, so moving on to your Oracle cards. Like I said, you got two from each deck. So the first one you got from the Wisdom of the Oracle is a leg up. There's the artwork for it, and it's number 34 in case it has any significance for you. So we'll get the messages for that. Okay, it says receiving help, delegating authority, interdependence. The Oracle's message. You come to a point where going it alone is no longer optimal for you. Life has a way of presenting you with the perfect people to align with who can give you a leg up during this next phase of your journey. Help comes to you in all areas of your life where you need a boost. The trick is to accept that aid so freely given. When you embrace interdependence, allowing teamwork and independence to commingle, miracles happen. Now is such a time. So, what it can even be for some of you is, let's say, yes, you go from that Nine of Pentacles to that Queen of Pentacles energy, which, in case you guys forgot, that was what was underneath the Judgment card. This could even, for some of you, maybe even represent a mentor, So someone, yes, you still get that step up, right? But maybe at your new job, your boss above you is even more supportive than the one in the previous job, right? Whereas the other one might have made you feel like you were stuck in this position. This one brings you on board, you're already leveling up to that queen, and then you might feel like they're totally supportive and helping you grow even more. That could be what's going on there. All right, the relationship message says relationships that are healthy thrive on interdependence. It's important to recognize that you need others as much as they need you. You must allow people to support you just as you are there for them. This is a time to be vulnerable, to speak up about your needs, and to ask for them to be fulfilled. Trust. You will be met with kindness and love. Don't expect others to read your mind, though. Ask and it is given. So the don't expect others to read your mind, though, part was interesting because, maybe that is what it represents for some of you, because what I was saying with that Ten of Swords, that could just be saying that you've been trapped in your head. And like I said, part of that, okay, yes, the Mercury retrograde thing in your 12th could totally do that, so don't kick yourself if that's what you're going through. And maybe that Seven of Cups energy, which is a bit of a Pisces energy too, even though it's a Scorpio card, has that Neptune influence. So, maybe this is just saying that you have been trapped in your head and maybe you haven't been speaking up about what you needed. And maybe that's what led you, to feeling like you were left out in the cold. But communicating what you need, what you want would help, All right, the prosperity message says now is the perfect time to seek advice from a mentor or business advisor who has been where you want to go to help you get there. If you do, you will receive very good counsel that will aid in your prosperity. It may also be the case that your endeavors have grown and you are in a position where you just can't do it all yourself anymore. Time to bring on those who can give you a leg up. Trust that help is available and it will indeed appear. Delegate authority to others so you can take steps toward your big dream. The perfect people will arrive at the perfect time so long as you step forward with just a mustard seed of faith. So that's interesting too, because maybe for some of you, it could have even been this Nine of Pentacles energy can represent a bit of an entrepreneur type thing too. So even maybe that's even what it was. Maybe you had a bit of a downturn in your business. Now all of a sudden it started to really increase out of the blue, and you might have gotten overwhelmed, like, oh, I have too much to do. So, I might have been saying that you stepped up from that page position in your job, which was okay, you were doing most of the work yourself, to now actually possibly hiring some people to help and, stepping into that King of Wands role, being, the boss basically. All right, the second card you guys got was Mending. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 52. So we'll take a look at that next. Okay, it says forgiveness, making amends, healing after arguments. The Oracle's message. Each time we hurt and allow the hurt to pass through us without understanding and integration, we accumulate an unwanted burden. This keeps us chained to the very things we need to heal. The pain, the memories, the echoes of resentments, and the arguments that we rehearse over and over. Now is the time for mending rifts, healing wounds, and letting go of the old hurts in order to reclaim your power. Now is the time to forgive, to release, to make peace, and to make amends to others. Set yourself free. So maybe that's what it is for some of you too, especially with the World card there. Maybe it is, like I said, for some of you, it could have been you who left someone else, right? And maybe that's been a pattern you've been on, where you've been giving people the impression that you were interested in a commitment where you really weren't. So, maybe this is saying that, you should extend yourself to those people and apologize and let them know the deal. And even if you don't get back with them, but just at least give them that closure, All right. So the relationship message says you've come to a place where forgiveness is necessary if you're to move forward. Separate or together, you and the other person are still experiencing the effects of a hurt that is impacting everything you do, even if you're not aware of it. The energy needs to clear. What must you do to bridge this gap? Closing your heart is not the answer. You have the power to heal this wound. Ask yourself, what would love do? Only good will come of forgiveness and an honest redress. So, for some of you, that could represent that could be what it is too, that this is you putting on this face like you're not bothered by what happened, right, with that sun energy, but underneath it you're really confused, like, all right, what the hell happened, right? And maybe it's just saying that, maybe you should reach out and maybe get closure that way, right? Again, even if you don't get back with the person, but just to get a grasp of exactly what happened, so maybe to prevent you from repeating it again in the future, right, with the world at the foundation. All right, the prosperity message says everyone makes mistakes, especially when you want something very badly. You may come to realize that in chasing after a pretty, shiny thing, you lost sight of long-term, sustainable prosperity. Sometimes you make choices that look good at first, but ultimately lead to loss or failure. It's time to forgive yourself and others. Don't blame anyone else. You get to start again, wiser and more mature. The journey to true abundance can be bumpy. Make amends to anyone you have hurt along the way, especially yourself. Forgive those who may have taken advantage of you. Let go and learn from this. You are now that much closer to achieving the kind of prosperity that really fulfills you. Nothing is ever lost or wasted when you view it from this perspective. So, that's a pretty solid message there as well. Hopefully you guys got something from that. And let's move on to the next deck. So the first one you got from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck is Dove Spirit. It says be peace. There's the artwork, and the number for this one is 21. So actually the same as the World card. So definitely could be saying that, making peace with your past in some way could just give you that closure you need to move forward, in whatever way that would apply to you. But let's see what the message itself says. It says, with her peaceful cooing, the gentle dove spirit invites you to embrace the energy of peace and allow compassion to warm your heart. You always have the power to generate peace within you, and the appearance of dove spirit is a reminder that today and every day is a good day to meditate, to quiet any turbulence within you as you embody tranquility. Above, below, and all around you, much may be happening to distract you, but you are called to engage it with the heart of a peacemaker, asking yourself, what would peace do? Can you agree to disagree? The peace you seek rises within and spreads out into the world as Spirit sends her messenger to remind you of the beauty of our harmonious existence with all that is. How beautiful and powerful is your compassionate heart. Alright, so like I said, for those of you where maybe there is a need to make amends, hopefully you got something from that message as well. And then the last one we have is Panther Spirit, and it says reclaim your power. There's the artwork for it, and the number for this one is 44. Alright, it says it takes courage to face challenges, and right now, Panther Spirit is here to say you are braver than you think. Now is the time to take a risk and step into a different aspect of your being. Speak as you have never spoken before. Act as you have always dreamed you might have the courage to act. Love fearlessly and fully, and expect to feel the adrenaline rush as you are initiated into a new, braver, bolder self. Panther Spirit says the time for dreaming about what you want to do is giving way to that first courageous act toward reclaiming your Panther Spirit and power. Your new identity may feel strange at first, but you have what it takes, and your soul wants this. Be bold. So, I mean, it definitely looks like you would be embracing that energy from the looks of the main spread. You know, like even like we said, if we just look at going from the sun energy, which does have a child in the artwork, which isn't to say you're childish, but we see the sun, then the page, then the king, right? There's a steady growth there. So that could be what that was pointing to. And lastly, we'll get to your mudra card. So for those of you who haven't been watching my videos this year, I've been pulling mudra cards for all the signs. And what a mudra is it's a hand gesture that you hold while meditating, usually for 5 minutes if you're not someone who normally meditates, but if you're more accustomed to meditating, half hour could work as well, maybe even 45 minutes. And their purpose is to help clear blockages, usually more on the mental, emotional level, but sometimes even physical blockages. And this is your mudra for this month. The keyword for it is potential, and it's the Kangula mudra. Alright, I'll just flip the card over so you could see some of the info on it. Alright, you guys can either pause it or take a screenshot if you wanted to read what it has to say. And I can't fit everything in the frame, so I'm going to just move it up so you could see the rest of what the card has to say. But yeah, under benefits it says improves digestion and assimilation, activates hidden talents and gifts, awakens somatic intuition, harmonizes human biorhythms with the rhythms and cycles of the natural world. So, you know, maybe that's something that you guys might find helpful. I'll put the name of that mudra in the description of the video as well if you wanted to look into it some more. We'll wrap up there, guys. Like I said, happy birthday. A little bumpy there, but overall, like I said, I definitely feel like it's a good reading. A lot of growth showing there. So I'll talk to you all next month. All right, bye.